welcome to this episode of Watch Out. I'm your host, Drew Pizzulo, and tonight we are going to have an episode on the 12 Watch Questions of Christmas. These are questions based on everybody's feedback over the past year that they've had for me, places I've been, things I've experienced that I've asked people to comment on over the years from family, friends, and other people who have seen the channel and have given me a question. And I thought I'd compile them for you into this little list and go through them. So, let's have some eggnog and let's get to it. Oh, shit. It's spiked. Okay. Number 12. What does it mean when my watch skips 3 times per second? Good question. Simple one. This just means your battery is low on a quartz watch and needs to be changed. As the battery gets low, it stops ticking every second and you will skip every 3 seconds into a bigger tick. Even though it stays on time, all it means is simply that your battery needs to be changed, and you can either do it by a local jeweler or yourself. But it's usually like in a car when you have the light go on saying you have 25 miles before the car runs out of gas. Same thing with a watch, it just does it in a different way when it comes to a quartz watch. Number 11, what do you think of Christopher Ward? I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Not a brand I ever truly liked, based on the fact that they claim to be more of a Swiss brand, but most of their parts are made in England, and it's kind of a disaster trying to get anything warranted from them, and they really don't hold great value, and it's just a brand that I would pass by. Number 10, what was the gold and silver pawn shop like? If you saw my last episode, I did the Q&A questions when I visited the gold and silver pawn shop in November. And basically, it's just as it appears. I found it just as it appears in the episodes that they've had for the past 13 seasons or 19 seasons, however long it's been on. And Rick and Chumley are exactly how they are on TV. They're great guys. Met them both, and they're really, really great people. What they do is every Tuesday or Wednesday between 1:30 and 2:30, certain times of the year, they will do a VIP tour if you're there, and you get to go backstage, ask questions, get photos, autographs, stuff like that. And that's exactly what you saw in the last episode. But at least I got to show you, basically, in their words, any questions that we had for them, they were able to answer, because they do a lot of dealings with watches and jewelry as well. So, yeah, it was really cool. Number 9. Why weren't you at the NYC Watch Time Expo? It's a multifaceted question, partly because, number 1, I was racist. Shut up. I was at a family trip in the Keys, so I wouldn't have gotten back for part of the expo. And the other part is they had a lot of different requirements regarding vaccination statuses and other things regarding the pandemic that I wouldn't have been able to comply with in time. So a variety of testing restrictions and stuff like that I just couldn't comply with to go this year, but I look forward to going next year because I really enjoyed it over the past several years that I have gone. Number 8. Biggest problem in the watch luxury market today. This is pretty simple. Inventory. When I went to Vegas, some of the high-end stores like Admiral's Breguet, I'd go in, lady greeted me, and I'd see a billion brochures on the wall and no watches. And I said, why? And she said, well, inventory, because of the ships that can't get into port. And this has been a constant problem, not just in the watch industry, but in all industries, because of this wonderful economy we're in right now. And they hadn't had one for 5 months. So it's tough when these high-end luxury watchmakers have to go on, not volume, they go on the quantities that they pump out in pieces. and if they don't have the pieces to sell, then they're going to be in the red for the rest of the year. So is what I see as the biggest problem in the market. Let me just bring in Reese's over here so she doesn't interrupt. Thank you. Okay, next question. Number 7. Why no March Madness episode this year? Okay. Another multi-layered question. It was because the special guest that I wanted to book for this year's episode wasn't available at the time. It's been a rough year for a lot of different people with COVID and everything else like that to get them in here. And it was delayed, unfortunately, a year. But we will have it next year for the episode. So stay tuned for March Madness next year. It was just delayed 1 year due to COVID problems. But it definitely will happen in 2022. Number 6. What kind of watches, jewelry were at the pawn shop for Pawn Stars? Okay. It's, like I said, the jewelry there actually is mostly female. I'd say maybe 70% female, 30% male. They do have 2 watch sections. One, when you go in right on the right-hand side, is watches that are anywhere between $50 and $150. And then the luxury watches are on the left side, and they have all pre-owned. There's nothing new. Obviously, it's a pawn shop. It's what people bring in. But they did feature Rolex, Cartier, Tag Heuer, Concord. You know, those are the ones I pretty much remember. Bell & Ross, stuff like that. And they weren't at any discounted prices. So you're talking about, you're going to pay through the nose for luxury watches pretty much anywhere at this point in this market. But the other jewelry was pretty spectacular. I know we did very well for my wife and other people at the pawn shop. And they had everything from rings to necklaces to jewelry, a lot of gemstones. They focus a lot of things on zodiac signs as well. And, everything from jewelry, and they have Picassos on the wall that you can buy, and they focus a lot of earth stones as well, which was rather fascinating. And of course the sports stuff's on the wall, so that's basically the kind of stuff that was there. Number 5. After seeing the movie House of Gucci, would you ever buy their watches? I'd recommend anybody who hasn't seen it to see the movie. Very good, very interesting. Ironically, I had a replica Gucci growing up. In the movie, the older generation didn't mind people having replicas. They thought it was an honor that people wanted to buy their brand, even though they couldn't afford it. Whereas the newer generation thought it cheapened their brand's reputation. I've had replicas in the past, so I can't go either way on that. But would I ever buy one? Yeah, if I like the movement and the style and everything else, they would have to tell me it was Swiss made and automatic and have certain things that I like, water resistance, certain things that I would expect for me to spend pretty good money, because Gucci's aren't cheap. The brand still isn't cheap after all these years. It's $1 billion company. You'll find that out if you ever go watch the movie. Number 4, biggest brand surprise of 2021. To me, actually, I have one coming in. Frederic Constant, now owned by Citizen. But the reason that I found it fascinating was before they were bought out, their watches were much more innovative. I have the Open Heart coming in, which won the award in 2005. I thought that was really cool. Really unique watch that I'll probably show you in the next season. And so yeah, that brand kind of surprised me. I always liked a couple of their designs, but I never really even saw the Open Heart till recently, so thought I'd add that to my collection. Will there be another season? Well, I obviously answered that question in the past 6. Yes, there will be. I don't know the format in terms of will it be one per month that I've been doing, or will it be just on demand as the episodes come to me. It's something that I'm under review on right now, and we may go into other things as well as in terms of different topics that I want to discuss outside of watches. as I think that's important to do from time to time. So yes, there will be another season. Number 2, watch you'd most like, what show you'd most like to attend. Jeez, that's what happens when you have eggnog. What show you'd most like to attend? Huh, Basel. Been to virtually every other show. I was in Switzerland when I was 14, I want to say 14 or 15, maybe 16 or something, sometime when I was a teenager, on a high school trip, and loved it. Went to Lake Luzerne, reminded me of Lake George, just with all watch stores. So fantastic place. Love to go to Basel. I think every true watch collector should go there once. It's probably like the NYC Watch Show on steroids, and I look forward to visiting it sometime in the future if I can. And the number 1 question. What happened to It's About Time? Okay. This is a loaded question. I want to say this correctly. Probably politically correctly. I was informed that due to a difference in political beliefs and opinions, that the show would end, along with the partnership, and well, as Billy Joel once said, life is a series of hellos and goodbyes. I try to live by the motto, never put politics ahead of friends, because everybody is allowed to have their own opinion, their own viewpoint. You're not in their shoes, so it's really hypocritical to try to judge somebody else's for their viewpoint. And it is still America, and that's the philosophy I try to live by. Not everybody agrees with that, and again, these may be some interesting topics for next year, but it's not something. It's something that unfortunately ended that show. We did have a lot of great times and great episodes. I have nothing but fond memories from It's About Time, and I carried that format to this show as well, as I look to try to keep doing episodes about watches and other things moving forward that enlighten the human condition, I guess. So, yeah, that's basically what happened to that show. But thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening for the 12 watch questions of Christmas that we've assembled for you. I hope everybody has a very happy, healthy, and safe holiday season. So does Reese's. And we look forward to seeing you in the 2022 new year. Thank you, everybody, and have a great evening.